Okay, basically here's a scrap piece of wood that I have with a couple of fret lines already marked on it. I don't know if you can make them out pretty well. It looks like you can kind of see them somewhat. Here's the coping saw that I'll be using on it. For the most part, and I would suggest that you try a few slots when you do get your coping saw on a scrap piece of wood, because when you go to put the frets in there, if this blade's too wide, you're going to have a lot of slop and a lot of play inside of your fret. So you kind of want a really tight fit. Let me get a piece of fret wire here, a scrap piece that I have. You can kind of see. I don't know if you can really make that out too much or not, but this is pretty much the top portion of the fret. And then you have this portion right here. That's kind of where it seats down into the fret slot. And it has these little barbed ends on it that grab. When they go down inside the wood, it kind of grabs the inside edges of the wood to keep it from sliding back out. So you want your fret slots to be just enough to where you can set the fret down in there and it's got a nice tight fit to it. If you do a pre-cut to see exactly what your depth is, and you notice it is a little bit too sloppy, what I did and what I had to do on this one, it's been a while since I've used it. I'm not even sure if this is the blade that I had filed down or not, I can't tell. But basically I just took a standard file, small file, and just kind of worked it down and filed it down. It's kind of tedious at first just to kind of get it the way, you know, the thickness that I needed it to be, but pretty much let's say that this one's already been filed down and I've done some sample cuts on it and it's good to go. Now, doing it this way is real tedious and it does take some time and some patience. You want to make sure that you have real sufficient amount of lighting and just a lot of time because like I said, it can be time consuming. So what I usually do is kind of get it lined up just on the corner edge here. If you can see that, I'm kind of just working on this corner, just kind of making a small little mark. Usually I do this using the vise, but that's what the camera's mounted to right now, so I just kind of had to clamp it down to the bench like this. But if you don't have a vise, you can clamp it down to your bench. And now I'm going to work on this side, get a little notch going on there. I'm just going to kind of bridge in between the two of them. The reason why I did one on this side and one on this side is so that I can kind of just keep a constant straight line. So at the beginning and the end of it, you know, on both ends. I don't know. It's just something that I've done. I think it makes it easier, and the guide or the saw tends to guide better onto the line. I know this really isn't helping much because I can see the camera jiggling all over the place. Try to do this and take some breaks in between so it's not vibrating too much. So I got this one again. I'm just using a scrap piece of fret wire here. It's not really to length. These are just kind of some end pieces that I had left over. I'm just kind of checking my depth right now to see how it's fitting down in there. A little tap. Yeah, so pretty much that gave me a good depth. So it is actually the same blade that I used before because it's got a nice snug fit to it. Left a little overhang because I'm still just kind of checking it, and I want to be able to get the seat down in place and pull it out pretty quick. And we're going to start here. Score a little line. Score a little line there as well. You can see I use my fingers a lot to kind of just keep it as a guide. Really, just try not to cut yourself. And again, I'm just starting out slow. Just kind of shift it on me there. Like I said, I'm used to doing this on the vise, and I get a lot more control when it stays still. And if you are going to use a vise, I would suggest getting some rubber padding for the vise itself, because when you clamp into the side of your wood here, you know, you don't want to nick it up or scratch it up or scar it in any way. So the rubber ends kind of help as you clamp it down. There's a good bite on it. You can still work with it, and it doesn't mess up your project while you're trying to work on it. So that's basically pretty much it. You just go all the way down the fretboard. You know, there's really, like I said, I use a miter box now that has, you know, so it has a lot more control. It's downstairs in the basement, but it's got a lot more control on it, and you can set your guide depth and whatnot. You can purchase those at Stuart McDonald is where I got mine. They got the website stuartmcdonald.com, I believe it is. But it costs about $100 bucks. But this is definitely, you know, you can, if it's your first guitar that you're building, you're not sure if it's going to be, you know, a hobby that you're going to take on and do a lot of, and just go with the coping saw. I mean, it's probably your best bet. You get a lot more control with it because of the tension, and you get a straighter cut. I mean, I'm sure there's other saws out there that work, but the coping saw did fine for me. So you would just continue that down the fretboard, and you know, just take your time, be really patient, don't try to rush it. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day. I mean, you have to kind of just have to be really calm, really patient, really relaxed on it. And if you start to feel yourself getting aggravated, just take a break for a little while, come back to it. Ain't no sense of, you know, getting halfway down the neck and start getting frustrated and screw up right in the middle. I mean, because then you'll be in a whole mess of aggravation then. So yeah, just take a break, take your time with it, and don't rush it.